My name is Terry Murray. I'm the president of Prescriptive Data Solutions. Prescriptive Data Solutions focuses on data, making sure that it is available, accessible, and secure. We're primarily based out of Texas, serving customers nationally. Yeah, there's really a lot of pain points with them. First of all, just the architecture and design was not intended to deal with the amount of data that we're talking about today. So just from an overall volume perspective, that's something that's difficult for them to handle. And that has an impact not just in storing it, but when you actually need to go there and start searching for data, the amount of time that it takes to do these queries takes a really long time. A couple different reasons. One is the architecture. So there are a lot of solutions out there that are more appropriate to run in the cloud at this point. And some of them do, but they weren't necessarily architected for it. They just took what they had on-prem solution, kind of moved it up to the cloud. So Fluency did things different. It was architected to run in the cloud, which means that it can scale out so it can handle larger and larger workloads. That's a pretty attractive difference compared to others, not just in the amount of data that it can handle, but also your ability to search and get that data very quickly. And it stays the same as it scales. The amount of compliance requirements that are coming out continue to increase for organizations of just about every type. They're wrestling with them. There's new things that they need. So one, the ability to store as much data as they need, regardless of what that requirement is powerful. Their ability to recover that data and index it and look at it, that's powerful. One of the newest features that they have that I think is particularly interesting is the pseudonyms. So applying that to GDPR and being able to go in there and say, I'm actually going to pull out all the personally identifiable information adds another layer that I'm not aware of any other tools like it that have that capability. So it's a fully robust solution that really the end customer doesn't have to do a whole lot with. It's all implemented in the cloud, it's ready to go, and it provides compliance capabilities beyond whatever else is out there. Well, it's very appealing, right? Because you have to store all this data and retain it for certain periods of times. And if you look at the other solutions, on-prem is particularly difficult, right? Because you would have to store it. You're constantly having to upgrade or add devices and things like that. So it's very logical to put it in the cloud. But again, some organizations, they just put it in the cloud. And in order to overcome some of the limitations they have as far as performance, they've got to put everything in there on the highest tier of disk available. So that drives up the cost of that solution. So their ability to put it in there, leverage different tiers of disk from the cloud provider itself, makes it much more cost effective than any other solution out there, regardless of how large you scale the solution. So for us, that's when you combine that with the actual capabilities of the solution, that's a big win. One of the reasons why we chose Fluency was because of simplicity. With some of the legacy tools that we're using out there, you find that you spend more time actually managing the tool and working with it than you do analyzing the data that comes out of it. That's not the case with Fluency. Compliance is a challenge that all organizations are dealing with regardless of size. There's always new compliance regulations coming out, and organizations wrestle with how do they deal with all those requirements. So Fluency is a great tool for handling that for customers. The other thing that they do that's unique is their use of pseudonyms. So by using the pseudonyms, you can go and you replace all of the personally identifiable information, which now makes it able to share that information out so it can be reviewed. It controls not just what the end user is seeing, but also what your security analysts are seeing, which is a requirement under GDPR. So it's a very powerful feature. Because Fluency was built to run in a cloud, they're leveraging some of the native capabilities of the cloud that makes their solution much more cost effective than any other solution out there. Where other solutions just take what they had on-prem, stick it up in the cloud, Fluency allows you to use different tiers of storage. They can spin up resources as needed, dramatically reduces the overall cost of that solution. We think Fluency is a clear choice for organizations that value or putting a priority on compliance and privacy, and we're excited about working with Fluency in the future. In the field, one of the things that we come across most often when looking at different security postures and stances, organizations will have implemented a SIM, but a couple of different things have happened there. One, the complexity of those tools puts them in a position where, yes, it's been implemented, but it's not ever configured properly. It's not set up properly. So one of two things happens. Either it's really not assisting you the way that you intended it to. You're not collecting all the data and getting those alerts. Or two, you're getting lots of alerts, and you're getting so many alerts that the organization essentially just stops paying attention to those things. And it's surprising, but that's a real common thing that we find out at customers. So really two main areas that we see an impact when we look at traditional tools compared to Fluency out in the field. One of them is when you look at your security analysts and what they're doing on a daily basis. With traditional tools, you find that they're spending a lot of time developing and maintaining expertise about those tools instead of really gaining a better understanding of the data in their environment and their security posture and how they deal with the different attack vectors and their stance. So by putting something in there like Fluency, you get to go after those areas and spend your time on that impact and not just working on the tools. The second thing I would say is that when you uncover problems or you suspect problems, your ability to go and diagnose that is so much improved when you're using Fluency rather than some of these other tools, just because of the speed. It's one of those things that initially you may not think, well, how much different does it really make if it's that fast? But if you think about, I may need to do multiple queries to find out where the root of this problem is. If there's this huge delay between each query, that's a major impact, and you don't have those problems with Fluency.